Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Good morning. It is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. How you guys doing this morning? Shout out to my nephew, not my real nephew, not my biological nephew, but Christopher's cousin on the other side. Today is he should be 18 today. His 18th birthday. Wow, 18. So happy birthday, Eden. I know you're not gonna see this video, but happy birthday. Yeah, because he and Chris will be 18 in March, and they graduate next year, both of them. When she had him in September, I had found out I was pregnant in August. Yep. I got a lot to tell you all. It's a lot to pack in today. So I never seen that. So yeah. First, I want to just again say good morning. I hope you all are doing well. I hope y'all are doing swell. Hope you had a good day on yesterday. So I guess I should just dive right in. So as many of you all know, I have had a chronic ear infection for a month. This started in August 21st. It is now September 24th, and I am still dealing with this. However, today was the first day that I woke up that I did not have a headache. I thank God for that. But anyway, I've been telling you all what's been going on with me. And yesterday, I went to the ENT doctor. And this is where it gets interesting. I went on to put my eyelashes on. I wasn't going to put them on because my eyes were swollen from crying. Because I have been crying. And I'm going to do my very, very best, my due diligence, not to cry on here today. I'm going to really try. So I went yesterday to see the ENT doctor, and I received some bad news. And the bad news that I received was that my ear is a lot worse than what they anticipated. I'll start here. I cannot fly on this trip. I have to take the train. I'm not happy about that because I will have to be on the train by myself. Christopher will have to fly with my mom and my sister. I tried to get tried to get a train ticket for him. Could not get a train ticket coming back. The seats were all sold out. The guy told me to keep calling to see if they cancel. So let's pray that somebody cancels so that Chris can go with me. Otherwise, I will have to go by myself. And I'm just going to be honest. I'm not happy about having to go by myself. I know I'm a big girl. I'm 55 years old. I'm a grown woman. But I don't like traveling by myself. I just don't. Okay? I just don't. It's a 20-hour ride. So instead of me leaving Wednesday and flying in and getting into New Orleans on Wednesday, I will have to leave Tuesday. I wish it would come on. I will have to leave Tuesday and get there on Wednesday afternoon. Let me go back. Let me rewind back to the ENT doctor. So when I go in to see him, it must have been, she's a student. She came in and she looked in my ear. She was all in my ear. They put this, it didn't go all, they can't get all the way down in my ear because obviously the eardrum is compromised by fluid. So they couldn't get down in my ear. They could only go so far down he tells me, he said, you have a severe inflammation, infection of fluid. He said the reason why your jaw hurts, your jawline hurts, he said you were saying that, you know, because I was telling the nurse how I had went to the ER and how I couldn't lift my head. He said all of that is fluid right here on your brain, right here on the side. He said, which is causing the headaches, which is causing the neck pain and the ear pain around here. And I was telling him my whole ear would just be throbbing and aching. He said, yeah, that's all a part of what you're going through. And he said, if the antibiotics that you are on, the Augmentin, you're supposed to take them twice a day for 10 days. He said, you are not at this point yet. Thank God. He said, you're not at this point yet. He said, because you have been going to the doctor, you know, going and getting treated. He said, had you not, this is where you would be. He said, and this is where you could be. He said, based on what I'm seeing, based on what I looked on your CT scan and what I'm looking in your ear, because then he came in, he said, I purposely fit you in to see you. He said, because I have a very tight schedule. He said, because most times I'm in surgery. He said, but your doctor said that you need to be seen immediately and that this was an emergency. He said, and for that reason alone, he said, I went on to fit you in because I read your notes and I read how long you've been going through this. He said, this is where the possibility of where you could be. And he said, the possibility, he said, you know, we don't know if the antibiotic is going to work or not. He said, but what I want to tell you is that it's going to take 6 weeks, 6 more weeks for you to be completely able to hear out of that ear and for you to be completely fluid free. He said it takes 6 weeks. He said, so that's just, he said, you already been, you know, you've done this a month now. So it's going to take 3 more months. So he says, whoo, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. So he said, it's going to take you 3 more months. And he said, if the antibiotics don't work, we're going to have to do a major surgery. He said that surgery would entail drilling into your skull and putting a tube in your ear, behind your ear, and draining that fluid out, or removing the bone in the back of the ear that is, he said, because right now that bone that's in the back of your ear, he said that bone that's in the back of your ear is he said that bone that's in the back of your ear is what's infected, along with, you know, and he said, you're not there yet, but the possibility of you being there is very high. if the medicine don't work. He said, I see you had an IV, you had a local IV, and now you're doing oral antibiotics. He said, with the local IV, he said, how do you feel? I said, I feel better. I said, he asked me what was my pain level. I told him an 8. And I said, it's an 8 in the morning. He said, right, because you laid down, the fluid is already back there. And so now, you know, what I asked him what he think or what he thought could have caused it. He said, well, based on what your chart said, you said that you work in a very dusty place where it's a lot of dust. He said, and dust, dirt, debris. He said, you know, any of that stuff. He said, if you breathing that in, it causes infections. He said, you probably had, so he started asking me questions like, you know, when you get up in the morning, are you clearing your throat? Are you, he said, most people don't realize that they need to blow their nose every day. He said, most people don't do that. If they don't have sinuses or if they don't have a cold, they only blow their nose when they get sick. He said, it's really kind of important to blow your nose, you know, or whatever. So I told him about the neti pot. He was like, that's good. He said, but right now, you don't need to use that. You need to wait till this is cleared up. He said, do not use it. He said, have you used it? I said, no. I said, because I read the instructions and it said if you have an ear infection, don't use it. He said, correct. So he said, don't use the neti pot. He said, that's good that you know that. He said, don't use it. He said, you're going to wait until after this has cleared completely up. He said, because you don't need to have any type of solution going that way. So I told him about the eardrops. Same what Passion said. He said, no. So you were not going to put anything in your ear. Not put nothing in your ear. I meant to ask him, why does my ear itch so much? But I asked my doctor. I see her tomorrow. But he said, we're not going to put anything in your ear. Don't put anything in your ear. Don't use nothing. He said, we're just going to let the antibiotics do what the antibiotics do. He said, after this is over with, you can use the neti pot. You can use the neti pot to clear up the sinuses. He said, but right now, there's too much fluid here. There's too much fluid. And then, you know, you have to mix up that little solution to help. He said, no. And I said, well, I definitely read the instructions before I used it. He said, that's good. He said, most people don't, but that's good that you did. He said, and I said, and it clearly said if you had an ear infection, do not use. He said, right, you don't want to use that right now. So I told him that, you know, and I told him that when I wake up in the morning, how I cannot hear, how it's tight, how this still hurt. You know, I just told him that the mornings are the roughest. And I said, I'm up pretty early, and, you know, and I said, and it's kind of hard for me, you know, to get going, to get moving, you know. I said, because I be in, you know, pain. So he said, well, I see you had the extra strength Tylenol. And I said, yeah. And I said, I haven't taken it yet. He said, well, you can take it with that medicine, you know, that you have. And he said, but just continue to take, you know, he said, make sure he said, you know this, that you're supposed to take antibiotics and finish it all of them, even when you're feeling better. He said, but what I'm telling you is that it's going to take a while for you. He said, right now you have loss of hearing in that ear, but you don't have full loss of hearing in that ear. He said, but you could possibly, if you fly. Okay, so I'm gonna get to that point. So after he tells me all of that about, you know, the surgery and where, you know, I said, well, and so I mentioned to him, I said, well, I said, I'm going on vacation in 2 more weeks and I'm flying to New Orleans. He immediately looks at me and says, no. So I'm like, so I thought he was saying no about the cruise itself. So I just, my throat just jumped in my chest, and I was like, you said I can't go on a cruise? And so he said, I'm saying, no. He said, you can go on a cruise, you'll be fine. But a cruise, he said, I'm saying, no, you cannot fly. I got so upset. I didn't cry, but I was just so upset. I was like, why? He said, I said, wait. I said, before you answer that, I was trying to get this cleared up before I fly, because I know that even when you fly with don't have the ear infection, how your ears feel. He said, you answered your own question. He said, exactly. He said, I'm telling you, I am not clearing you to fly. I am not going to clear you to fly. He said, you cannot fly. He said, if you fly, he said, you are taking a risk of dying. That's just how he said it. He said, these are two things that will happen. He said, with your ear being the way that it is, he said, you will go permanently deaf. You will, he said, what you have can cause meningitis and go to the brain, and you can die. And I was just stunned. When I tell you all, I was just stunned. I was just floored. And I was just looking at him, and he was looking at me, and the student, she's not a nurse. She was just looking at, we were all just, it was just quiet in the room. And he said, that's how bad this is. And I was just like, he said, take the train, drive. He said, but I'm telling you, I am not clearing you to fly. I am not. And I said, well, I was just like, what? I was like, oh my God. I said, it's 2 weeks away. He's like, then he said something kind of a little smart, kind of pissed me off, which he was right. He was like, well, he said, I'm sorry you didn't get the insurance on your cruise. And I said, okay. So I just was like sitting there, and I was just stunned. You know what I'm saying? I was just stunned. And I was just stunned. I was stunned. And he said, and the reason why we would have to pull that fluid out, if that fluid does not go away, he said, is because if that's what it will cause, meningitis. He said, and you know what meningitis is. I said, I do. He said, you know that it can kill you. It's deadly. He said, and I know you want to go on your vacation. He said, I get it. I understand. He said, but I'm going to tell you this. He said, I can't tell you how many patients come into this clinic to see me after they have flown on the plane, and how many people get ear infections. He said, human beings were not meant to fly. He said, we were not meant to be in planes. He said, he said, it's not normal. It's not natural. He said, we should not be up in the air. That altitude, that pressure. He said, so if you have to chew gum and you do your mouth, like, you know how you do your mouth, like you be doing that to try to pop your ear and all of this and all of that. He said, I'm telling you. He said, I am telling you. He said, you don't need to be up there in no plane. He said, I'm just telling you what's going to happen. He said, all of that pressure in your head. He said, you think your head hurt now? He said, you're going to have the worst headache of your life. He said, it could happen while you're on the cruise. He said, it can happen when you get back. And I was shocked. I'm not going to even lie. I was just stunned. So I $38.88 Saturday. So I got on and I got me a ticket, and I was going to have Chris go with me. I told her not to cancel his flight. She said, "You want me to cancel?" I said, "No." I said, "Because I don't know if I can get tickets to get to, get the Amtrak tickets." So I said, "No, don't cancel the flight yet. Don't cancel." So now you was wrong. Big ass truck. I said, "No, don't cancel his flight. Or the flights." I said, because I didn't know. And so then I called Amtrak, and you all will not believe that when I called them, it was going to be $800 for both of us to go on Amtrak. But I called Amtrak, and Amtrak only had one seat coming back. One seat coming back from New Orleans to Chicago. Now here's my other dilemma. My other dilemma is that I was supposed to leave on Wednesday and come back on Monday. But because all of this happened, I have to leave the day before and come back the day after, which I don't have any more vacation or sick time to do that. So I have to go in here and ask them for they give me a reasonable accommodation due to the fact, come on, damn. When you turn your big ass up in here. In there, big ass truck. So I have to go in here and explain this to them and see what they will do. Otherwise, I will not get paid for the holiday, Columbus Day, and I won't get paid for the day after, and I won't get paid for the day before that after. I won't get paid. So I work Monday. Tuesday I won't work. I work Monday. Tuesday I won't work. Tuesday I won't be able to work Tuesday. So I need them to accommodate me for that for two days basically. So I don't know if my job is gonna do it. I hope they do it. They've only did that for me. They've never done that for me. But because this is a medical reason, I would think that they would. But I don't know. I prayed that they would do it. But my ear hurt right now. To be honest with you, it hurts right now. That's what it does. Let me go in here and punch in. Be right back. Be right back. let's see. Okay, so he ain't here. I got my space, my spot. He parked down there. See, this spot is wide. It's almost like 2 parking spaces, and that's why he like to park here. And the guy I work with in the office, he parked right here. That's why he be trying to, because he got this big pickup truck. Oh, well. Oh, well. So that's where we are with the ear. And I have to see if the job will accommodate me. And I don't know if they will, or if they're willing to do that. I don't know. So I need you all to pray. I need you all to pray that I'm going to say this. I was very emotional yesterday. I went on Facebook Live yesterday and told them about it. I didn't come here live, but I told them, and I was just crying because I'm concerned about my health. But you all know that I am, and I have said this to you all many, many times. I don't play when it comes to my health. I may not want to know the outcome. I may not want to know what's wrong. But I am not going to sit and suffer because I don't want to pay $200 for an ER visit. Look, bill me. I'll pay you when I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm pissed because the first time I went to the ER, Wednesday before last, when I went to the ER, that attending didn't do anything. So this is what he says to me, the doctor, the ENT doctor says to me, well, you probably didn't see a real doctor. You probably saw a nurse practitioner. I said, no. I said, no, that would be a no. So he looked at me kind of funny. I said, you know what? I said, you all always think that nurse practitioners don't do their job, that the nurse do a better job, or the doctor does a better job than the nurse practitioner. I said, I've had some damn good nurse practitioners that do more than the doctor. I said, and this one did. I said, because before I went to the ER last week, I went before, and I said I had this problem, and I told her how much pain I was in. I said, she didn't do nothing. I said, she sent me for no CT scan. She gave me no pain medicine through my arm, a local pain medicine. I said, she didn't do that. I said, she sent me out of there and gave me a fucking prescription. And that's just how I said it to him. Just like that. I said, she gave me a fucking subscription to get some Sudafed that I can buy over the damn counter. You should have seen how he looked at me. I beat you. I beat you. I think he mad. But I beat you. I sure did. I bet he said, damn, she here this early? Yep, it's 6:07. I am here. Go back down. Just go on down there. Sorry. Like I said, he never thought about parking down here until he saw me. He never thought about it. Now it's like we in a rat race to get here, to park here. You know? But I beat him. If I got to get up and get, and I know this, y'all are probably going to say, Cece, that's so stupid. It's so stupid. And I know that it is. But if I have to get here, at 3:30 to get this spot, that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm telling y'all, with my foot being like it is and my knee and everything, I am not making no special, I'm not walking around this lot trying to find no parking. I'm not doing that. And on that end over there, I have parked on the other end, but I know that there's like this guardrail right here, and that guardrail got a lot of bushes, and I've heard there's rats behind there, and I don't want no rat going up in my car tearing up my wires. So it's rats all over this place, but I'm just saying. But anyway, it is what it is. But I am not gonna be looking for no damn parking space. So that's why I get here at the time that I get here. I just get here early. But I told him that, and he just looked at me and he said, wow. I said, yeah. I said, had she treated me when I went the first time to the ER, I said, I would be better. I said, but she did nothing. I said, it was a $200 visit. I said, it was a $200 visit for her to do nothing. So I said, no, don't stump on a nurse practitioner. I said, I had a nurse practitioner that was my nurse practitioner for many, many years. I said, she was the best, if y'all want to call them the mini doctors. I said, I love a nurse practitioner. I said, a nurse practitioner is very thorough. I said, she will sit and listen and do her best to get you the best treatment. I said, these doctors, I said, no shade. I said, but they come in, they don't even look down your throat, they don't look up your nose, they don't look in your ears, they don't have you do no extra. He was laughing. He was a white man. He was cracking up. I said, they don't do nothing. I said, they run in and hurry up and they want to rush you out. And he knew I wasn't lying. I said, they don't ask you, so how you been fit? You know, they just say, well, I see you got this. I said, they just want to. I said, and I get it. I know you all got other patients to see other than just me. Because when we was just all staring at each other, when he said I couldn't fly, and I was going on trying to convince him, and he was like, no, kept saying no. He said, I'm telling you. It was like he was my father. You cannot fly. And he said, I took you, fit you into my schedule because your doctor said that this was an emergency. In other words, he was like, you ain't finna waste my time sitting in here trying to convince me that you can fly when I'm telling your fat ass that you can't. He said, take the train. And I'm telling you all, I thank God, because otherwise I wouldn't be going. That's the honest to God truth. Because if I hadn't have called, when I called yesterday afternoon, and I didn't have $400, on my hand to God, I have not paid the mortgage yet. I did not have $400. Something kept telling me, wait to pay the mortgage. Now I'm going to pay my mortgage, okay, for this month. But something kept saying, don't pay it yet. Don't pay it yet. All week. Something kept telling me not to pay it, to wait. Because I have until next Tuesday to pay it and not be considered late. But with this program that I'm in. But something kept on telling me, do not pay it yet. Don't pay it yet. Something just kept telling me that. And I guess it's because this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And when I say something, I'm not talking, I'm saying, I think a lot of times that's the Holy Spirit telling us to do things, and we sometimes don't listen. I try to be very obedient when the Holy Spirit is talking to me, talking to my spirit, telling me something, or the Holy Spirit is trying to guide me or lead me. I have learned in my life to not second guess what I'm feeling or what I'm being told. Just like when I went to the ER last week, I kept on saying, I'm just gonna wait to see my doctor. Then something was like, Same thing, that's something that we say something. And that something is God. That something is that inner spirit telling you that you need to take care of something. You understand what I'm saying? I hope I don't want y'all to think I'm not being creepy, but I believe, because of the faith that I have, I believe that it's God. People say my conscience, that's God. All of that is God. You may not know how to know how to articulate what it is, or you may think that it's your conscience, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really God. I don't even care. Some of you all would probably sit here and say, well, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. Y'all, I'm sorry, it's the light from this truck. He trying to put this pole up on this truck. Some of you all might sit here and say, you know what, I don't believe in God. I don't believe that God speaks to the spirit man that way. I don't believe that. I believe that's my conscience. Well, who created your conscience? Who created your brain? You know what I'm saying? Everything comes from him. Everything comes from God. Everything. So that's something that I'm saying, that something was telling me not to do this, or something was telling me not to do that. But that something is the Holy Spirit. And see, when you have a relationship with God, and when you talk to God, and when you pray to God, and when you tell God, because I talk to God like I talk to a friend, because he is a friend. He's a friend indeed. Of course, I don't use the language that I might use with a friend, because he's God. And I respect him. So when I talk to him, and when I pray to him, or when I just have a talk with God, I just tell him, God, this is how I'm feeling. God, I'm weary. God, I'm sad. God, I'm depressed. God, I'm weak. God, I'm lonely. God, whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm going to say this to you all. Yesterday when I was crying on live, I got ready to apologize for my tears. I got ready to say, y'all, I'm sorry for crying. But I stopped myself immediately. Because so many times I see people that are being interviewed on an interview, and they start to get emotional. And immediately, as human beings, what we say is, I'm sorry. We apologize for showing emotion. Not weakness, emotion. But we think that being emotional means weakness. We have to, as human beings, stop apologizing for crying in front of other people. I remember when my ex-friend hurt my feelings. He really hurt my feelings. And I was on the phone telling him how he had hurt my feelings, and I started to cry. My voice started to break, and I started to cry. He made me feel bad, or he tried to make me feel bad about the fact that I started crying. He said, really, Sherelle? Really? Really, you crying? He was like, come on, man. He was like, you crying and everything? He was like, you crying? And I said, I'm crying because I'm hurt. I wasn't hurt like relationship, like in love hurt. I was hurt like, I was hurt. I was hurt. And then I remember that I told y'all the next day when I came to work after that, I had on no makeup. I don't even remember. I can't even tell y'all what he did. I don't remember what he did. I can't even remember. I guess if I really think about it, I can remember. But the point I'm trying to make is that he tried to make me feel bad about that. And I told him in a text, I said, you were very insensitive to my feelings. I said, yeah, I cry. Maybe you need to. Maybe you will be less moody. Maybe you don't have to smoke so much weed if you would cry. But we use crying. When we see a man cry, when we hear a man cry, oh, he's soft. Look at him. Look at him, big old baby. He crying. But this is why so many people unalive themselves. This is why so many people suffer in silence, because the world tells us, be strong. Put your big girl panties on. Man up. This is the stuff that society tells us. And what happens is we walk around and we got billions of people in the world that is fucking angry. So instead of being emotional and cry about it, I'm not saying you got to cry about I'm not saying that emotion come with you crying about everything. But if you did cry about everything, so what? I don't understand how we live in this type of world where it's so much violence, where it's so much racism, prejudice. You know, yesterday, a white woman, I said I was going to remember her name. A white woman got on my video that I did about white people not knowing that black people are come in different skin tones. This white woman got on and said, both of them were white. I hid them. Both of them were white, and said, one lady said, white people don't give a crap about this, and she did a laughing emoji. That's a lie. You all do care about it, because if you didn't care about it, you wouldn't be laying out in a tanning booth. You wouldn't be laying out on the beach. Oh, you want our skin color. You just don't want to be black. You want to be this color, but you don't want to be black. You don't want all the stuff that come along with being a black person, a real black person, not a fake wannabe, let me get brown skin black person. So then this white woman got on and said, under her comment, and said, we don't care nothing about y'all colorism. The fact that she made that statement let me know that this is a prejudiced ass white woman. They missed the whole point of the damn video. But I didn't have time yesterday, the mood that I was in and what I was going through. I said, both of you bitches, and I don't know, I think both of them were women. I know because I went to the second one's page to look at her. You may not care nothing about our colorism, but you got a whole bunch of hair on your head that I don't think is yours. So what I did was, I sent both of those bitches to the block party. I wasn't going back and forth with nobody. I wasn't. I'm not going to explain anything to white people who are dumb, stupid, and slow. Y'all can go join y'all president who y'all voted for, because he don't even know how to pronounce a medical term. I'm very, very, very happy to see that Jimmy Kimmel was back. I fell asleep on his whole monologue, but I saw how he got emotional, and he's right. He did not act like he was, he did not say anything bad about Charlie Kirk. He talked about MAGA, that it was one of your own, and that's the truth. And I don't know why they got mad about that, because he told no lies. But see, white people who are racist and prejudiced, they want to deal in make believe and not reality. What he said was, one of your own who is a MAGA killed your MAGA person. That's what he said. And they got mad about that. And see, you got to remember, MAGA is not just the regular folk. MAGA is the FCC director that was appointed by Trump. That's MAGA. Sinclair and that other station who refused to put him back, who refused to run his show in other countries? MAGA. All of them are sucking on Trump's dick. All of them. And these white folks who leave these comments on my videos, MAGA. The black man who said, I'm a black man and I'm MAGA for life. MAGA. MAGA just ain't white, it's black too. There's a girl that I was good friends with, not good friends with, but I was her Facebook friend. She's a fitness trainer. I really like her. We watch her videos of her helping people lose weight. She also is MAGA. She wants to, Illinois needs to flip red. And and they black people. I deleted her. Yes, I deleted her. I don't want to see you keep talking about you a Trump supporter and you sucking on Trump dick. I don't. We're not the same. I don't need to see nothing on your timeline. I have never, ever got on there and told her she was wrong. I have never got on there and told her, why are you MAGA? Why are you this? Why? She has drug Kamala. She has drug other Jasmine Crockett. She has drug her. I've never said not one word to her. Not one. And yes, a lot of them are getting paid to be MAGA. But I have never said, girl, you this, you that. I've seen her stuff and I've scrolled right on past it. And then I kept seeing it and I just clearly went over and hit unfriend. I'm sure, I know she's a nice person. But my political views and yours don't line up. And you have every right to have your political views. I just don't want to see it. I just don't want to read it. I just don't want to keep seeing you in my timeline with that bullshit. I don't. So do you, and do it however way you want to do it. But I have a choice, and it's what I keep saying. When people come over here to me, you have a choice to unsubscribe. You have a choice not to watch and like or comment over here. So same thing. When I see things that I don't like on Facebook, like her, I hit the unfriend button. I don't announce to you that I'm leaving. Oh, well, you know what? You like this, so I'm deleting you. No. Bye. I'm gone. I'm sure by now she knows. She can look at her friend count and tell. There's a lot of people that I know that know her that said, oh, no, I deleted her. Anything that I don't like that somebody is doing on social media, I just keep it moving. There's another lady another lady over here on YouTube who I used to watch faithfully. And when the election when we was getting ready to vote, she said, she's a black lady, that she wasn't feeling neither one of the candidates. And so she wasn't going to vote. And her daughters were not, she got a lot of daughters. I'm not going to say her name. And her daughters were not going to vote. Well, that struck a nerve with me and my mama. And the reason why I watched this lady was because of my mother. My mother and I both unsubscribed to her. You can't be, I don't have respect for black people who don't vote, knowing what my black people did for us to vote. So my mother said, I'm not watching her no more. And we weren't the only ones who unsubscribed. Every once in a while, I'll go to her page and I will see what she's cooking. because she cook, because I like to watch her cook. And she lives here in my hometown. But I lost something for her when she was standing there talking about, I don't like neither one of the candidates, and I guess I'm going to vote. But I don't really think, my daughters, they not going to vote at all. I don't understand how you a woman in this country, a black woman in this country, and you sitting here telling your daughters that it's okay that they don't vote. When our health as women is on the line. My mother bought Kamala Harris's book. I read the first chapter yesterday. It was really good. I want to read it. But I have an issue. I have an issue with anybody who, especially when you're black and you don't vote. But if that's your choice, that's your choice. But she lost some people. And I lost some people when I said that a woman has a right to choose. There's a lot of people that came on here and said, I'm unsubscribing to you because you believe in abortion. I don't believe in abortion. I believe in free choice. I believe that nobody should take your right to decide what's best for you. I've never had an abortion and never will. If Christopher got a girl pregnant, and the parents came to me and asked me, said they wanted their daughter to have an abortion and they wanted me to help pay, they would not get one dime from me because I don't believe in abortion. I do feel that abortion is murder. But I am not here to judge anybody on the decisions that they make for them because I'm not God. I've never had an abortion. I could have had one, but I decided to have my baby. That was my personal choice. And every woman has a right to choose what is best for her body and for her life. I may not agree with it. I may think it's wrong. I may think it's the wrong thing to do. I may think this is not right and you're murdering this child. But it's not me. And nobody has a right to take that away from anybody. Nobody. That's between you and your God. You got to live with that. Whatever decision you make, you got to face your Savior. You got to face him. I don't have to face him. I got enough. I may not agree with transgenders. I may not agree with person not understanding a person that's a lesbian or a person that's gay or poly and all that. I might not understand it or agree with it, but it ain't my life. I don't care about nobody being gay. I don't care about gay people having children. Hell, most of the people that ain't gay that got children ain't raising their children right. who am I to talk about somebody who say, well, you know what, I'm a man, but I've always wanted to be a woman, and I never felt like I was a man, and I want to transition. Who am I? Why is that my business? Why is that my business? I'm a woman. I ain't looking to be no man. I may not understand it, but why is that my business? That's the part I don't understand. Why is that my business? So I said all that. I was just saying that because of what the person said on my on that video, that person. But I'm gonna say this. You all can get on these videos and say whatever you want as white people. It ain't gonna stop me from saying what I say. You know, I read your comments, your stupid comments, but I don't even let you stay there. I just go on and remove you. That's all I do. Just go on and remove you. And I ain't had time yesterday to go back. I'm not going back and forth with nobody. You can think whatever you want to think, because I'm gonna continue to get on here. I'm gonna continue to talk. I'm gonna continue to say what I say, whether you like me or not, or what I say. But I'm glad Jimmy Kimmel is back. He did get emotional. And I love Jimmy Kimmel. I love him. I stand with him. I support him. And he's going to continue to talk about Trump, because it's called freedom of speech. If Trump can get on TV and talk about people and call other countries like Africa shitholes, hey. And the reason why they put him back on there, because all of you all, because I never had Hulu or Disney, all of you all went on and canceled your subscriptions. That's why they put him back on, because they said, oh my God. See, these companies never think about, oh, how is this going to affect our company? Same way with Target. Same way. Now Target want to come out. Too late. Too late. We done with you. I went in Target last week to use the bathroom. It's empty as a mug up in there. Empty. So you all, this is the last thing I have to deal with. I got to go in here and talk to them, see what they say, see what they're willing to do. See what they're willing to do. I will let you guys know, though. I will keep you all informed. But I'm really, I just wasn't expecting all of that. I just wasn't. I was not expecting all of that yesterday, to hear that. So I don't know what they're going to say. But, meaning my job, I don't know what they're going to say. But I'm going. I'm going. And I do not want to get on the train by myself. I don't want to go by myself. I really don't. I haven't been on a train since I was a little kid. And I wanted Chris to go because, you know, on the train, you know, you see so much, and you get to see the scenery, and, you know, it's beautiful, you know. I just don't want to go by myself. I don't. So pray my strength with that, because I'm struggling. I'm just being honest. I'm struggling with the fact that I'm going to have to go by myself. I'm struggling. And it's just, you know, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm not excited about this cruise. I'm not excited as I was. I'm not excited because I'm not going to be with my family flying out. I'm going to be by myself. I don't do good being by myself in certain things. Like, I can go shopping by myself. I can go out to eat by myself. I've been out to dinner by myself a whole bunch of times. I went to the, I've never, have I ever been to the movies by myself? I don't think I have. But I mean, I'm by myself a lot. But I'm scared to go by myself. And I don't know why. I don't know why. I guess, you know, everybody have different anxieties about different things. But I'm scared. And I wanted Chris to go with me. I just want somebody to go with me. And so now it's just more money I got to spend. So now I got to get an Uber from my house down to Union Station. And then when I get to New Orleans, I got to get an Uber. I got to get an Uber from their station to my hotel. My girlfriend who lives in New Orleans, she might be able to pick me up. I don't know. She might, because she was going to come to the hotel anyway and see me. But I don't know what time. But if not, I'll just have to get an Uber to the hotel. And yeah, so I don't think there's no purple lipstick in here. It might be something. Let's see. This is by Slay Ready Cosmetics. I've had blue, purple, pink. I got on a pink shirt. It says, this shirt says something, I'm blessed to be black or something. What did it say? Oh, it says, I got makeup on it. It says, I didn't ask to be black. I was just blessed. That's what it says. I don't know if you all can see it. So that's what it says. I wear all color lipsticks, y'all know that. Purple. After I did that live yesterday on Facebook, I got so many texts, phone calls, DMs, inbox messages saying, you know, Sherelle, you know, hang in there. It's going to be all right. It's going to clear up. Because like now, it's aching. You know, that's how it does. It just aches on and off. So I appreciate you all support. Like I said, I was just not expecting to hear all of that yesterday. I'm sorry, Jesus. But I will keep you all posted. I will let you know. I have to go see my doctor tomorrow again. The money that I have spent. The money. And again, like I said, I mean, you know, it's you know, your health. And as I said, I work in a place where I'm around a lot of dust. A lot of dust. You know. And I probably need to put a mask on even when I go to probably need to put a mask on when I come here, and probably need to put a mask on when I go to get on this train too, because you never know. But I am gonna see if she give me my flu shot tomorrow. I'm going to get my flu shot, but I don't know if I can get it with what's going on with me. I might have to wait. You know, I have to look and take everything as a blessing. It's a blessing that I found out what was going on when I did. It's a blessing that because my mother was like, you can't miss the cruise. She was like, you didn't spend too much money. You want to miss the whole cruise? And I'm like, no. So that's it, you all. That's it. I'm just glad that I was able to get a ticket. Unfortunately, I got to go by myself. But I got to go by myself. And I don't want to go by myself. And I'm scared and nervous. But I know I will get through it. And I will keep calling to see if anybody cancels. And see, he was telling me, he said the reason why this train is packed and it's only one seat, he said left, he said it's because it's the holiday weekend. It's Columbus Day. He said a lot of people, he said a lot of people are, you know, traveling. He was saying a lot of people taking, you know, getting on a train for a weekend, you know. He said that they could go on, he said a lot of people going to New Orleans. So it was one seat coming back. My girlfriend last night, we was on the phone, she went to look and she said, yep. She said it is sold out. She was like, damn. I said, I know. Sold out. And I think it's open seating. And I'm gonna try to sit, I'm going to do my best. I want to get there early. Check my bag in early. I want to be on the bottom of the train, not the top. I don't want to be up top. I want to sit at the bottom. I mean, if I have to sit up at the top, that's fine. But if I don't have to, I don't want to have to do stairs. So I'm going to do my best to try to sit at the bottom. So yeah. It's always something. Always. So I'll be back tomorrow, you guys. I might come back on live later. I was supposed to do live yesterday, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was too upset about everything that happened. But I'm going to do my best to try to come back today. All right. You all have a fantastic Wednesday. Thank you all so much for your love and your support. And most of all, for your prayers, your concern, your thoughtfulness. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. Okay, you all. Have a good day. All right. Bye.